Hello once more, welcome to Yoga Dharma TV. Today we're going to be looking at a posture called Prasarita Padottanasana. This video is primarily aimed at adjusting, modifying and finding some solutions to the right alignment for yourselves. So I'm the adjuster, Martin, and Daniel is the student today. Okay, let's look at our first adjustment now. Okay, so this first adjustment is for Prasarita Padottanasana A with the hands on the floor. So you probably can't see so well at the moment. Daniel's back and lower back is quite rounded. So this adjustment is for lengthening and straightening out the lumbar spine. So ideally this lumbar spine is going to be in its natural lordotic curve. So that's a slightly inward curve. And Daniel, I know, is quite tight in the hamstrings. So he might have to bend his knee for me to do it, bend his knees slightly for me to do this adjustment, because as soon as I start to adjust this lumbar spine with my hand, it's going to correct the alignment. It's going to bring the pelvis into a more neutral position, which immediately will put pressure on his hamstrings. So he's probably going to have to keep his knees bent. So in order to do these standing adjustments quite safely and effectively, especially for the teacher as well, you do need a good 3 points of contact. So both of my feet are grounded and rooted to the floor. My front knee is bent slightly and my back foot is taken away, so I've got two really positive points of connection with the floor. My right hand is going to be on Daniel's lumbar spine. I'm going to close down my legs slightly, so I'm locking his left leg between my two legs. And my other hand, my left hand here, I know Daniel's got a damaged collarbone from when he was playing rugby, so I'm going to move my hand over here slightly. Normally I would grip it right here, but I'll move it here for Daniel slightly. So as a student, you've got to feel safe when you're being adjusted by a teacher. And if you do this, if you take this stance and repeat this in all of your standing posture adjustments, these principles, your student will feel safe and you'll feel secure as well. Okay, so this first adjustment is me going to be pressing the heel of my hand into Daniel's lower back here, the back of his pelvis. And the heel of my hand will start to slide forward, so bringing that pelvis forward slightly. And my left hand, I've got to be careful because Daniel's collarbone is going to pull that shoulder back. So I'm pulling the shoulder back and sliding the back of his pelvis forward. Can you feel that, Daniel?
Yeah.
Where do you feel it? Backs of your legs?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then come out. So that's the first adjustment. Okay, continuing with the adjustments of Prasarita Padottanasana. So a common thing that you will find if you're teaching this posture, or if you're looking to improve your own alignment, is if you look at Daniel's feet now, you'll find that the weight is collapsing into the outside edge of his foot, and then the arch of that foot is lifting quite a bit. What this might do over time is compromise the metatarsals in the feet. So those metatarsals will have tiny ligaments. If they get compromised and stretched, this can get really uncomfortable. So we're going to see if we can remedy that. Okay, Daniel? So take the weight more evenly into the full width of your feet. So you're going to feel as much weight on that big toe side of your foot as the little toe side of your foot, and equally the heel. So you get a nice straight line on the outside edge of the legs. The toes are nice and relaxed. They shouldn't be gripping the floor. And it's also probably good practice to squeeze and lift your inner thighs for me down. Okay, so that starts to stretch the inside of your legs, just making sure that all the muscles in the legs are working nicely. So we're going to work on a little bit of alignment. So this would be more of a verbal adjustment if you were teaching, or self-adjustment if you're a student. So Daniel, I just want you to lift your chest slightly towards the camera. Not the head too much, more the chest, so stretch it flat, much better. Now start to draw your shoulder blades back and start to bring your hips slightly forward and draw the shoulders back even more. So immediately you feel that in the backs of your legs, Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because we're beginning to align the posture more correctly. He's beginning to lengthen his lower back and he's bringing the weight more forward so the sit bones or the hips are lined up with the heels. So we're looking at adjustments for Prasarita Padottanasana D now. So Daniel, I'm going to get you to grip your big toes with your first two fingers and thumbs. Make sure, because we discussed earlier about keeping the weight of the feet evenly placed in all four corners. So gripping your big toes, gently pull up on those big toes, Daniel, and then take your elbows out wide. So we have a nice straight line, plane between the elbows, the wrists and the shoulders. So relax the head. So this adjustment relies on some work between myself and the student. So the heels of the hands start to gently press into the elbows, and then Dan, you're going to press the elbows back into my heels of my hands. So try a bit harder for me, and then I'll push back in a bit harder. So the idea is that the student's torso begins to get lower and deeper into the forward bend, although Daniel's back is quite rounded, but nevertheless, are you feeling it, Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Now we're going to be looking at Prasarita Padottanasana C and an adjustment. So, Daniel, if you take your feet wide for me, not too wide, take the hands behind the back and interlock your fingers. Then I'm going to ask Daniel to bend his knees before he comes into full bend because he's quite tight in the hamstring. So if you bend your knees, sink down in those hips slightly, and then start to hinge forward from your hips for me. That's it. And start to allow the arms to swing behind the back, not too far. So the adjustment is standing in front of Daniel's left leg. So the front of his left leg is being supported by the back of my right leg. I bring my other foot forward, so I've got nice even points of contact with the floor, and I'm firmly grounded. So his weight's already beginning to press into the back of my right leg. So the next part of the adjustment is me taking the palm of my right hand and my forearm, sliding it down the middle of his back between his shoulder blades. As I slide my hand down, I start to press my forearm into his back and then begin to slide the hand down even further. So what's happening is I'm encouraging his torso to get straighter and encouraging the forward bend to become deeper, making and hopefully getting the forward bend to come from the hips rather than from his middle back or his thoracic spine. So that's happening. I'm going to add a little bit of pressure between my hand and the backs of his hands just to bring the arms down a bit. Not too much because we don't want to hurt the shoulders. Thank you for watching this video on Prasarita Padottanasana. Thank you, Daniel. If you've liked this video, it'd be great if you could press that subscribe button and add a like button. And if you've got any comments, leave them in the box below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you and bye for now.